Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome one, welcome all, welcome both of you out there in the side chat who have decided that they're going to pull up here in the ass crack of dawn. At least it's the ass crack of dawn where I'm at right now. Not sure how things are where you're at on this giant ball of a globe, but hopefully things are going all right for you. Decided to do a bit of a stream. It was a bit impromptu. Been quite busy this week, so I haven't been nearly as on the ball with streaming as I had been before, but I am trying my best to stream when I can, because it's good to build some early growth on the channel. I have an announcement that I would like to make at some point on this stream. There's going to be an event taking place tomorrow. A big event, a major event is going to be taking place tomorrow. It was originally supposed to take place today, but the classic real world just had to step in and say, no, you're not actually going to do it today. You're going to do it tomorrow. Because today I'm going to be going and celebrating Christmas, ? With my fiance's family, because they've been so busy themselves and I've only had the time to get together now. So I guess I'm going to be celebrating Christmas a month later than I was supposed to. Better late than never, right? Better late than never. Yeah, so that's one thing. A couple things have happened in my real life. A couple developments have happened in my personal life that mostly have actually been for the good part, honestly. Nice change compared to 2025. Holy shit. 2025, I gotta tell you, all right? The first half of 2025 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Quite nice. And then, I don't know, right around August or September, 2025 decided that it was going to make itself the worst possible configuration it could be from like September to the end of the year. But at least things are starting to look up come January. For once in my city, the cost of living is starting to go down, not up. because if it went much further up, I don't know if most of the population could really sustain that. Truth be told, cost of living, cost of groceries, cost of rent. Now, groceries have largely stayed the same, which is unfortunate, because you kind of need them in order to survive. But you know what else you need in order to survive? We are in January. I know we're in January, Dustin. I'm saying January so far, it's been looking better. It's been looking better for me at the very least than the end of 2025. That's for fucking sure. But one of the other things that you need to live isn't just food, it's housing. And, I've been noticing, not only in my neighborhood, but in neighborhoods all over this city, it's been really pissing me off the past few years because there's all these houses being built all over the place. You can see them going up left, right, and center. And I couldn't see shit in terms of an actual change in the cost of living for housing. It seemed like even though more and more supply was getting dumped into the market, another dozen houses here, another few hundred houses there, didn't seem like it was actually making any kind of tangible difference until this year. It seems like the market has finally actually started to adjust so that common people like you and me, we might actually be able to afford a shitty little place to live and call home. Now, my landlord was probably going to raise the rent again in spite of that, because that's what they do. They'll always push things as far as, unless they're actually one of the very rare decent landlords, which I don't think you have much of an incentive to be a decent landlord, unfortunately. It's really just a moral compunction that will cause you to be a decent landlord. Because, let's face it, you're incentivized to be a shitty landlord. If you're a shitty landlord that doesn't listen to people's repair requests, well, I guess you saved a couple $100 that month that you could have spent fixing little old Susie's pipes or fixing somebody's broken window or something of that nature. Now, are they legally required to do that? Yeah, technically they are. But they'll drag it out as long as they possibly can until basically a judge or magistrate hands them a piece of paper telling them that they've got to do it. So in classic shitty landlord fashion, I'm currently paying a lease. I don't have a problem sharing what I'm paying right now. I'm paying $16.75 Canadian right now for my unit. Now you can convert that to American dollary dues if you want. But that's not insanely bad because, it includes utilities, it includes pet fee, all that crap. You get pet fee. I'm sure that they're going to add a breathing fee at some point in the future if the law allows them to. Hey, Aiden. Hey, Steven. Hey, Dean. Dustin out here in the side chat. I'm living proof you don't need housing to survive. You know what, dude? It's only just recently that we even got a car ourselves because Brianna has literally been so focused with university and stuff that she just totally put getting a license by the wayside. So it's only just recently that we'd be given the privilege to be able to live in a vehicle. The privilege. I'm joking when I say that, or at least hopefully you do. No, unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that, Dustin. There's a lot of people that are just living in their vehicle, and that is such a tenuous situation. I'm not speaking from experience. I've never been that far down in terms of poverty. I've always had a roof over my head. I've, like the whole clothing and feeding situation was a bit shoddy sometimes, but I've never been just out and out homeless. So what I do understand of that situation, though, it is like to the point where if the heater in your vehicle goes out and you don't have the money to be able to repay it, you are in certain parts of the country going to have a really hard time even just surviving through the winter and making it through the winter without like copious amounts of blankets and, I don't know, some little mini space heater that you might be able to run off of the car battery or something like that. I've seen a couple of little jerry-rigged solutions, but it is such a desperate and tenuous situation that people like that are put in. Anyways, they were going to offer me a lease of $1,700 this month. It was going to go up from $1,675 to $1,700. And I just wasn't going to stomach that. I'm sorry, but if the rest of the market is going down, why in the actual fuck would I agree to pay more money to you every single month? Especially when you consider the fact that they're not the worst in terms of being landlords. It's not like they're the bottom of the totem pole, but I gotta be real with you. These people ain't the best either. They really ain't. I've been on their ass about a problem with this vent for like a year now. This vent in between, and it's between both of our bedrooms. That's the worst part, is if it was in just one of the bedrooms, then maybe you could get a respite over in the office, which is where I'm recording right now. We've got 2 bedrooms in our unit, and I use one of them as an office to work out of. But because it's between both of them, you can hear it in both of the rooms, and it's the worst thing ever. And the excuse that you get from them is, oh, we'll come out, we'll get it fixed eventually, we'll come and get it repaired. Never happens. When you press them enough, then it becomes, oh, well, we don't really know where the issue is specifically, so we would have to make a whole bunch of holes, and that would be really expensive, and it's always just a giant rigmarole. But anyways, I wrote them, and in a polite way, they trying to raise the rent. They were trying to, Steven. And in a polite way, I wrote them, and I was like, no. No, I'm not accepting that. We need the rental rate to be adjusted, is the word that I use. I didn't say lowered, because you can't say lowered with these aristocrats. You got to be very careful about how you phrase things. You got to be sensitive to their needs, you know? So I told them, I was like, we don't really feel like the market is in a place where that's very fair. And they wrote us back. And I think that they knew at that point that we were on to them, because it was very resentful, the letter that they wrote back. It was like, hello, we understand that the market has been changing and conditions within it. However, in spite of the fact that maintenance and utility costs and all these things are going up, we agree that we could lower your rent down to $1,600 a month rather than the $1,675 that you're currently paying. No mention of the fact that they were trying to raise it. They weren't trying to keep it the same. They're trying to raise it, but they're acting like magnanimous over that. They're also like, oh, by the way, your security deposit will be reduced to $1,600 as our policy states that it can only be 1 month's rent. It's like, that's not your policy, bitch. That's the law. That's not the policy. Don't act like you're doing me some favor by literally following the basic tenets of the law. That's a bunch of bullshit. So, suffice it to say, we got our rent lowered, and they also wrote, I guess in order to like try and keep us around, in order to incentivize us to stay, they were like, yeah, we would also like to add a thank you package where we would be willing to upgrade one part of your suite in order to be more modern and convenient. And I just wrote them back, and I was like, hey, a modern upgrade would be great and all, don't get me wrong, but you know what would be even better? Actually fixing the vent so that we can sleep at night. Being able to properly sleep at night without that's a bit of an exaggeration. Yeah, boom, Mark, boom. That's right. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but it really is like somebody is just sitting there and tapping on your ceiling. Just imagine that. Someone's just sitting there and tapping on your ceiling at all hours of the night. And Brianna, for the first little bit, she didn't even really care all that much. By the way, everybody that's sitting here listening, the 3 people that are subjecting themselves to this for whatever reason, if you're liking the stream, please do hit the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. But I've got super sensitive hearing. I think it's probably a product of being blind in my left eye. At least that's my presumption. But I said, you're subjecting stream for some reason. 2 of those 3 people just immediately leave the stream. They've gained self-awareness. Like, all right, fine. Fuck you then, Aiden. I guess I am leaving. But I'm blind in my left eye. And I guess for whatever reason, because of that, I've got really sensitive hearing. And because of that super sensitive hearing, I get annoyed by that thing to no end. To no end. It bothers me so fucking much. Hits dislike by accident. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it. When my blanket is on fire, worried kind of tingly. And there's a couple kinds of worried kind of tingly, isn't there, Dustin? There's a couple kinds. That being one of them, for sure. But anyways, yeah, that's the extremely weak minutiae of what's going on in my life. I did want, though, to kind of transition. He's going to transition. He's one of those liberals who's trying to promote it on this stream again. No, but I wanted to kind of transition into a bit of an announcement. And I wanted to wait until there was a couple more people here. But you know what? No time like the present, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a debate. Believe that it was Mr. Odin, as a matter of fact, who kind of got things set up a little bit with the debate, got me contacted with my future opponent in this debate. Dean, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm going to pull it up right now. Share it up on their screen. Here it is. Tomorrow, live in 30 hours, debate: does biblical Christianity give moral approval to slavery? It's going to be going on tomorrow. It's going to be happening at 4 p.m. MST. So I'm pretty sure that that's, I think that's 7. Yeah, 7 p.m. MST or EST. I'm not sure what the time is if you are in Greece, but I am sure you might be able to figure it out off of the Eastern time that I just gave. Get them likes up. I'd appreciate it. I mean, come on, people. This stream that hasn't even happened yet. Oh, it's got a channel that's got over 8,000 subscribers, so it makes sense that it has 3 likes before it's even happened. Come on, we could get at least 3 likes on this stream, too. At least 3. I know you got it with it. Hell yeah, I just saw it. 3 likes on the stream. That's what I'm talking about. You see, this is perfect example. This is perfect proof. I ain't out for the views. I ain't here for the views. I'm sitting here announcing this to 2 people. You think I give a fuck? I kind of do. I was hoping there'd be a couple more people here in order to hear the announcement. That's okay. That's all right. Not a lot of people were around for the birth of Jesus either. It wasn't a huge crowd of people gathered around the manger. It's like, what? A couple dozen people at most? Those are directly comparable. This event right here and the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, those things are directly comparable to each other. When you really think about it, when you really get the noggin jogging. That's what I think. Bro, the guy looks like he'll shit the bed and leave. Way to be supportive of your fellow Christian there, Dean. Wow. So, unsurprisingly, I'm going to be taking the position that, yes, biblical slavery does give biblical Christianity does give moral approval to slavery. I'm going to be taking that positive position in that debate. You're not with the Morning View crowd just yet. You don't give it some time, you'll grow in popularity. I promise you that. Hey, man, even if it's just you and Dean that are out there chilling in the side chat, that's more than enough for me, dude. That's more, like, all bullshit aside. Would it be ideal to announce it to a couple more people? Yeah, probably. But that's all right. I'm sure people will file their way in through this video and somehow get through the 15-minute rant of nothingness that I did at the very beginning before they end up making their way over here, you know? But yeah, that's kind of my plan. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, and I'm not really quite sure if I'm going to be restreaming it myself. I might be able to get that set up. I literally have no idea how I can properly do that. Might be able to try to get the audio and everything like that set up, but if it doesn't end up working out and I just do it on his channel, I've already gotten permission to re-upload it over here on this channel. So I'm sure in some capacity this debate will end up on my channel. I'd love to host a couple of debates as well. Keep that in mind. Anybody out there that wants to do any kind of debates or anything like that, I would love to do a hosting of a debate or two over here on this channel. But anyways, might open up the room here a little bit earlier than usual. Holy snap, Pixie Storms joining the side chat. Hey, Pixie, how's it going? Hope things are going well with you. Aiden, the way that you speak about things is so eloquent. I thought you were a computer guy. I was under the impression that you knew all this stuff. You say that. I'm extremely selective with what I know about computers. That's the thing. Dustin, don't you start things in the side chat immediately. Don't you do that. I got 3 people here, and you're going to run one of them out. This little infighting in the side chat. We don't need another Rhodesian bush war. taking place in the side chat. No, thank you. Aiden, I might need to train that guy before he debates you so he won't shit the bed. Well, apparently Speakeasy, the guy who runs the channel. Oh, let me highlight your comment. Let me just really show how fucking tech illiterate I am by not highlighting your comment. Yeah, I think Speakeasy's heard me debate. I don't know if this guy has. To be fair, I haven't heard this re-examination guy debate either. So he could be like super on top of things and super eloquent, and I just have no idea whatsoever. I always try to overestimate my opponents for a debate. Because isn't that always better? It's always better to overestimate your opponent rather than underestimate them, at least in my opinion. Because if you overestimate your opponent and you prepare a whole bunch of talking points that they don't actually have any counter to whatsoever, then it's probably going to be in your favor, right? Like if you underestimate your opponent and go, oh, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and then they come out with some like Shakespearean fucking points that are just so eloquent and that you've never heard before, then you might be left at just a little bit of a disadvantage. I don't know. I actually didn't until Aiden said, oh, sorry, Pixie. My bad. I'm not trying to provoke things over in the side chat, Pixie. I hope you know that. It's actually the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do. But yeah, let it be known out there in the side chat. Oh, by the way, now I got a couple more people in here, some new blood, so to speak. Make sure to like the stream if you're enjoying it. But yeah, everybody try to be there tomorrow. I don't care if you support me or oppose me, just show up. Throw some funny comments out there in the side chat. I'd love to see it. Might open up the show pretty soon here, like I said before. Just kind of wanted to get that announcement out of the way. But most debates are boring because folks repeat the same arguments. Yeah, I agree, Dean. I think that most debates kind of fall into that category. And today, because I've been putting this off, I've been procrastinating this so much. I was like, oh man, Aiden, you got to write a script, at least for the beginning of the debate. You got to write some kind of opening statement or something like that. And I always try, like with the Kent debate, right? I tried coming at Kent from an angle that I didn't really see too many people come at him from. And I want to do the same thing with this debate as well. I don't think I'm really going to be able to come up with something that's totally unique and original that you've never heard before. So don't get your hopes that high. Don't get your hopes that high. That's not what's going to happen. But I would say that I'm going to at least try to make it a little bit less bog standard and cookie cutter than what you typically see in those kind of debates. So, with that being said, I was going to open up the show, but I might play one of my segments. Because I do. I've got a segment. Dustin, I have partially to thank for popularizing this segment. I've only had one segment of it, and it seemed quite popular. So, with that being said, let's play the first ever recurring segment on the Aiden Linden Pro. You do it, Aiden. The first ever recurring segment on the Aiden Linden program. It's a different one. You think it's going to be the same one, but it's not. There's a whole bunch of them. Trump without Trump. Let's do it. Here we go.
It's Trump without Trump. You won't have to listen to his voice or see his face. This quote is unedited and 100% accurate. This is from a press gaggle on Air Force One from October 27th, 2025. A reporter asked Trump if he would run for a third term. These are the words.
You think this would be pretty important too, right? Like a third term. Dustin's a little bit upset. In the side chat, Dustin's not too pleased that I'm doing this right now. Sorry, Dustin. Had to do it, buddy. Look, man, I need to know whether the president of the United States of America is going to be running for a third term or not. That's pretty important, wouldn't you say? It's not the first time. All right, I'm playing this from the beginning. We're going to find out, everybody, right here. The three of you right now with me. We're an exclusive group. There ain't a lot of people out here witnessing this, but we are. Will Trump run for a third term? Let's find out.
It's Trump without Trump. You won't have to listen to his voice or see his face. This quote is unedited and 100% accurate. This is from a press gaggle on Air Force One from October 27th, 2025. A reporter asked Trump if he would run for a third term. These are the words of the President of the United States of America. If they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers, and if you read it, am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC as low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass, like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. I took. Those are very hard. They're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. And let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine. The first couple of questions are tiger, elephant, giraffe. You know, when you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions. Why did I get an MRI? It was perfect. Yeah, I mean, I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and the machine, you know, the whole thing, and it was perfect. Yeah, Donald J. Trump. It's Trump without Trump. You won't have to.
Wow, what eloquent words. What eloquent words. You know, hey, Mr. Trump, are you going to be running for a third term? Well, you know, I might be running. I might not be running. But you know what? Yeah, I passed a wonderful IQ test over at Walter Reed. The very best IQ test at Walter Reed. It was very challenging. Very challenging, but I did it. It's true. I did it all by myself, by the way, folks. It wasn't anybody else that was helping me. It was just me. It's just like, by the way, the whole Walter Reed thing, when you actually look into it, this cognitive test that he was passing was for dementia. It was a dementia test to determine whether or not you're actually capable of continuing to have proper cognitive function, which, you know, last I checked is a little bit important for the most powerful person on the planet to have. And to hear him go, you know, they were very difficult, those cognitive tests. They're really not. Go look into them. Go look into the Walter Reed cognitive test right now. It's publicly available. You can go and find out what's on the test. It's really not that hard at all. But you know who it is hard for? A fucking septuagenarian like Trump. This whole Joe Biden is old, Joe Biden is decrepit, Joe Biden is on his way out. Those are all true. Joe Biden is, in fact, a walking mummy that is barely capable of stringing a coherent sentence together. But you know who else that's true of at this point? Undeniably, fucking Donald Trump. Both of them are ancient. I literally think that they're like a couple of years apart from each other. And, you know, a couple of years apart from each other is pretty important when you're in your teens, maybe even in your 20s. But when you're fucking 70 or over, couple of years ain't that much of a difference comparatively, right? Like at 10 years old, 2 years is a fifth of your life. It's a whole fifth of your life. At 50, 2 years, what would 2 years be at 50? That's a 25th of your life, right? So at 70, I can only imagine how much smaller of a portion your life at 2 years is such a tiny portion of one's life. So the fact that like it's a 2, maybe 3 year difference between them, and Trump wants to act like he's so much more cognitively aware and functional than Joe Biden, it's just ridiculous. We're talking about based on you being there and seeing the test administered, for all you know, Aiden, that could just be talking shit, and given your past record with Trump, why wouldn't you just believe that he's lying about it? I mean, why would I think that Trump was lying about taking a cognitive test at Walter Reed? He doesn't have anything to gain by it. He doesn't have anything to benefit by lying about that. Because, like I said, the test is publicly available, and it's obvious for anybody that wants to go look into that test that it's not difficult like he describes at all. It's just not. It's extremely basic, and the fact that he describes it as difficult, it's just a little concerning for the guy that has the fucking nuclear football available at any point. You know, he could just end the world on a whim. Lincoln, who suspended habeas corpus. Yeah, Lincoln did suspend habeas corpus. That's true. They were in the middle of a war. They were in the middle of a war. And by the way, according to the Republicans, Lincoln was their guy. The whole party switch, the whole Southern strategy that was used by people like Richard Nixon in the 1960s, 1970s, like that just never existed according to the fucking right. According to the right wing, the party switch never happened, and the Republicans just all collectively decided one day that they were all going to move up from on north down south, and everybody down south was going to move up there into the northern lands all at the same time. No, it's ridiculous. So I just have to know, Dustin, do you believe that? Do you believe the party switch happened or didn't happen? Because it would seem to indicate, based on you criticizing Lincoln there, that you do believe that the party switch happened, which would make you a little bit unique out of most people that I talk to that seem to be on the right politically. And forgive me if you're not on the right politically, but you've talked a lot of right-wing talking points while we've had discussions. So if that's a faulty presumption, I'm sure you can come on and correct me when I open up the show soon here. 22nd Amendment. I was just about to cite the 22nd Amendment, Pixie. Yeah, it's not an argument, Dustin. I agree. It's not an argument whether a president can run for a third term or not. They just fucking can't. It's a non-starter. You can't run for a third term. It's not allowed, according to the Constitution. So the fact that the Constitution of the United States says that he's not able to run for a third term, and he's being all wishy-washy on whether or not he would run for... Do you know how much people were talking about Obama back in the day? How he was going to stay in power after his second term, and he was going to keep a hold of the reins of power. They were always acting like it was unconstitutional back then. I always heard people citing the 22nd Amendment when it came to Barack Hussein Obama, acting like the 22nd Amendment and the rule of law and keeping to the Constitution was paramount when it was Barack Obama in office. But all of a sudden, when it's Donald Trump that's in the office of the President of the United States, those constitutional principles don't seem to matter nearly as much. It's almost like it was never actually about upholding the rule of law and upholding the Constitution for those people. It was about who took the reins of power in a dictatorial sense. They would have been shitting bricks if Obama was asked, excuse me, Mr. Obama, are you planning on running for a third term? And he was like, I'm not ruling it out. You know, like if you said that, every single radio pundit on the right wing, every single political commentator would be talking about nothing but that for like a year. But Trump just gets to hand wave, oh, you know, I might run for a third term, folks. I might not run for a third term. I might. The fact that he's literally made hats, like go look it up. I'm like 95 fucking % sure that there are unironically Trump 2028 hats that have been made by the Trump administration. And, you know, whenever they get asked, like, oh, what's going on with that? It's always, like, made out to be like, oh, it's a joke. He's just messing around. But that's always the slippery slope, isn't it? It's always a joke until it's actually tangibly happening around us. And then all of a sudden we just have to tacitly accept that it's reality. Not Zealot Den, because he's garbage, Aiden. I am the better Den when you really think about it. You know? I'm not a little man-child that constantly complains that things aren't going my way. So, yeah, agreed with that. When I have a problem with somebody, I just tell them what the problem is as well. I don't go, oh, well, I'm not going to tell you what the problem is and then continue to talk shit about you behind your back when I said that I wasn't going to talk about you anymore. So, yeah, there is that. Oh, snap. Dustin's still on his original channel. Buck around and find out. For the love of God, watch him do it then. Hey, can anyone remind me what happened when Lincoln suspended habeas corpus? I mean, when Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, there was a lot of pushback in his party too, Dustin. There's plenty of Republicans that were fucking calling Lincoln tyrannical at that point in time. There was a lot of alarmism around Abraham Lincoln. But you know what? I can kind of understand to a decent extent why Lincoln did that. Because his country was tearing itself the fuck apart. And it wasn't even a surefire solution that America as a country would even survive out the other side of that Civil War. There was several points during the Civil War where it really did seem like the South would be able to negotiate a white peace with the Union, where basically the borders of the South were maintained where they were, and the Confederacy would be allowed to become its own country. That was almost the case at several points during the war. And you know who else is using the idea that there's an emergency right now in order to try and suspend people's liberties or to try and circumvent the actual proper process for enacting things like all these tariffs that you've seen Trump enacting? It's him. He's the one who's supposed to go to Congress and get approval for all these tariffs that he's been levying. But the excuse for why he hasn't has been, well, you know, right now, folks, America's in an emergency. They're in an emergency right now, folks. We need that tariff to come through, because if it doesn't, then the American people are going to be at risk. So it's been this idea of an emergency that, oh my God, we're in a crisis. We need to do something right now, everybody. Come on, let's do something. That has been the driving force for a whole bunch of his legislation. At least with Lincoln, there actually was a fucking crisis taking place. America was in an existential threat in the 1860s. So that's my response to the idea that he suspended habeas corpus. You know what, Aiden? Maybe you're right. Maybe I could give a fuck less about the Constitution. Maybe it's about winning, and maybe I learned that behavior from the Democrats. I mean, give me an idea where the Democrats ever tried to circumvent the Constitution of the United States by trying to run for a third term. Where did Obama try to run for a third term? Where did Biden try to run for a third term? Where did Clinton try to run for a third term? Where did all these people try to run for a third term? Or make merch saying that they were going to try to run for a third term, Dustin? Why are you saying that they learned that from the Democrats? Like, can you provide me an example where the Democrats act? And trust me, I'm not out here rah-rah cheerleading for the Democrats. I wouldn't actually be surprised, Dustin, if in the future here, the Democrats do exactly that. They do start circumventing the Constitution, and they do start trying to act like they're going to start running for third terms. I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because the Overton fucking window keeps shifting to the right. All right? It's undeniable. The Democratic Party has shifted to the right within your lifetime, Dustin, because they've had to. Because it's an inevitable reaction to the fact that all of these policies that the Republican Party has been pushing have been shown to be quite popular with the American people. So naturally, the Democrats are going to shift that way as well. Call social workers on the stream. Thanks, Maud. I appreciate it. I'm right, because my being homeless isn't a crisis, and white people being in turmoil doesn't have anything to do with a crisis, right? Dustin, white people aren't in turmoil. The American people are in turmoil. It's not about white people or brown people or black people. All of those stupid fucking distinctions between those people are things that are fucking inventions of the early modern period anyway, Dustin. You don't see people 1,000 years ago talking about how this person's inferior because they're from Africa, or this. And I'm not saying that you're pushing that either, by the way. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the idea of like racial division. You're a white man and I'm a black man, or you're an Asian man and I'm a fucking East Indian man. You know, all these distinctions are quite modern. All right? This idea that you're in a different race from these people. When you look at the historical context, the thing that mattered, the thing that categorized you was the place that you were born, not the region. Not, oh, I'm African, oh, I'm American. No, the village or town or city that you were born from. Oh, I'm from Heracleum. You know, I'm from Pontus. Or sorry, not Pontus, that's a region. I'm from Sinope, which is in Pontus. You know, and your religion. I'm Jewish, I'm Christian, I'm Zoroastrian. Those were the things that really distinguished people for the longest time. So why do you think it is that it's only been within the last few hundred years that we've really started hyperfixating on that? This idea of race. This idea that, oh, because I'm white and because I have a certain amount of melanin in my skin, that inherently makes me different from this other person that has more melanin in their skin compared to me. It's a modern idea. And it's really fucking stupid as well. I'm sorry, but it is. It's really fucking stupid. We're all human beings. Okay? That black guy has thoughts and hopes and dreams and ambitions just the same way that you do. He wants to better his life and better his family and better things for himself materially just the way that you do. Okay? There's plenty of black people that are homeless. There's plenty of Indian people that are homeless. That struggle that exists between those people is not unique to any one race of people. So I think that the thing that needs to be focused on is the fact that, yeah, you are homeless right now, Dustin, and that's fucking bullshit. The fact that you are working your ass off, toiling day in and day fucking out, literally, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory means, but like selling your labor, selling your body, for lack of a better term, to these companies, breaking your back, and what the fuck do you have to show for it? What the fuck do you have to show for all of that effort that you're putting into your life? That's not the fault of fucking immigrants, Dustin. That's not their fault. It's not the brown man's fault. It's not the Mexican's fault. It's not the illegal immigrants' fault. As a matter of fact, those illegal immigrants are paying fuckloads into the fucking American system right now. There's literally a system set out by the IRS so that if you illegally emigrate to the United States, you can pay into programs like Social Security, not receive any benefits from it until you're naturalized. So why do people do it? Why are there millions of people out there right now who are paying into Social Security and not receiving any benefit? Because it was understood that you would have an easier path to citizenship if you went that route. It was understood that agencies like Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, wouldn't be able to look into those documents and then subsequently go after those people. Now, that's recently changed. But this idea that immigrants are a drain upon society, this idea that people that have illegally come into the country are just inherently taking something away from you, they're not taking jack shit away from you compared to people like fucking Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You know, those people that are literally overtly telling you to your face that they want a world where you are just in a techno-feudalistic society, where you are entirely subservient and dependent on those people for everything that you do, where you have to have a subscription service to brush your fucking teeth in the morning and to drive your car and to do literally anything that we're doing right now. They're trying to fucking make everything into a subscription service. They're trying to take your freedom to do anything yourself or purchase anything for yourself to own away from you actively. Those are the people that are fucking you over right now, Dustin. It's not the immigrant. I promise you that much. Like ICE can arrest a bunch of ICE and arrest a bunch of grandmothers. I mean, they aren't. You know what, dude? I can go ahead and show you the footage of them arresting a whole bunch of little fucking children if you want. You see that report that came out recently? He's like, what, fucking 7 or 8 years old? That fucking kid in his fucking Spider-Man backpack gets fucking taken to the ground, just fucking arrested by ICE and taken in, gaffled up. You know? The fact that over 170 American citizens have provably been shown to have been taken in by ICE and held wrongfully. What the fuck are you talking about, Aiden? He moved to this country and they get... What the fuck are you talking about, Aiden? He moved to this country and they get all the benefits that are supposed to go to me that I'm working for, and I don't get any of them. You want to know why the line's too long? You're trying to make an argument that this isn't about race when you get the mayor of New York and proportionately taxing the people and codifying it into the tax code of New York. What are you saying? Are you saying that Zohran Mandani is somehow like introducing a caste system into New York? Like, what are you saying? Like, what policy specifically is he trying to enact that that's the case? The immigrant is the method or the tool that they're using to do so, and it's not the punishment to send them back where they belong. Dustin, your family were immigrants. Okay? You might have been born here, but there's loads of people right now who were also born here in the United States that are facing the possibility of being deported because the idea of naturalization through citizenship is now up in the air. The idea that just because you were born here to immigrant parents wasn't... What was the term that was always used for them derogatorily back in the day? Anchor baby, right? That was the thing that was always used, right? The idea of an anchor baby to keep you in the United States. Well, now, the idea that you are a United States citizen because you were born on United States soil is now something that's legally up in the air. So, this idea... Like, what the fuck is exactly an immigrant? An immigrant is somebody that looks at the life that they have right now. They realize that their life is fucking shit. And that there's another place somewhere in the world that might give them an opportunity to have a better life. And then they go to that place. And then they do something to better themselves. And you know what? 99.99999 fucking percent of the time, they're also benefiting other people around them. You think fucking businesses like Cisco could stay in business if they didn't have shitloads of illegals working for them? You think every fucking... Like, you fucking work construction, Dustin. You should know. Illegal immigrants are used all over the fucking place for contract work because they're cheaper. There's countless American businesses that will go the fuck under if they just didn't allow immigrants to work for them anymore. Perfect example of that, the farming industry has been petitioning Trump for like a year now to not be so harsh on immigration. Why? Because now, for some reason, all the people that were picking the fruit and the vegetables and harvesting all that shit, they're not there anymore because they're in detention facilities. According to this argument, I should get my Netflix free, my Hulu free, and the internet subscriptions free because what the fuck is a patron? What? I don't quite understand that. Because what the fuck is a patron? I mean, if you want to talk about patron, if you're talking about patron in terms of somebody that subsidizes someone else's lifestyle, Dustin, the biggest patrons that exist right now are the United States government. And you know who they're patronizing? If you want to look at the amount of money that's being spent to patronize people in the United States, it's not your grandma collecting Social Security. It's not Juan Dominguez collecting Social Security illegally, which I know very rarely does happen. It's not a totally unknown thing, I know. But those people aren't the proportional people that are getting all this money from the United States government. It's corporations, Dustin. Corporations are the ones that are receiving all these kickbacks Corporations are the ones that are receiving all of these massive fucking tax incentives, all of these kickbacks, all of these exemptions from taxes. They'll get out of paying taxes and then fucking expect subsidization on top of it. You look at companies like the Walton Company, right? Walmart, the fact that there's a fucking Walmart in every single major fucking city in America. If you look at their business model, they will get their fucking employees on food stamps. They'll get their employees on Medicaid, both of which cost the taxpayer, by the way, both of which directly come out of the taxpayer's pocket, instead of paying them a decent wage. Instead of giving those workers a decent wage, they rely on Uncle Sam to foot part of the fucking bill. And the fact of the matter is that on top of that, on top of the fact that they're not paying their workers a fair wage, and that they're not giving them the means of being able to feed themselves to the point where the government has to step in and feed these fucking people. On top of that, they get to double dip. Because then the Waltons at the end of the year get to claim, oh, our American stores receive very little to no earnings whatsoever. Our stores overseas, though, in places like Ireland and the Cayman Islands and places like that, oh goodness, we couldn't even begin to tell you the kind of income that they made. And our institutions like the IRS just shrug their fucking shoulders because it's understood that these corporations have so much fucking power that if we do try to hold them to account for those things, then they might just go, oh, well, we'll just take our business elsewhere. We'll just take our multi-billion-dollar corporation and go put it elsewhere. That's the fear, right? That's one of the main reasons why these companies aren't stood up to. But the reality is, Dustin, is that those places are fucking over the average American way more tangibly than any fucking illegal immigrant. Okay? Them's the breaks. Okay? You put a Walmart in any community, and there have been so many studies about this, by the way, to the point where it's been labeled the Walmart effect. But you put a Walmart in any fucking town in America, doesn't matter how rich, doesn't matter how poor, next thing you'll see, the wages in that area are driven down. On average. They're not driven up. Literally anywhere, find me one fucking example where the wages are driven up on average when a fucking Walmart is put within their town. It isn't. Because their fucking economy of scale is so much larger than any other chain that they're just able to outcompete everybody else into non-existence. So next thing you know, the mom and pop shop that was paying people a decent wage is now closed down. The store where you would have actually been valued as an employee and treated decently by the owner, that's no longer the case. You're now a number that is getting paid such a low wage that you have to go onto food stamps in order to just fucking survive and feed yourself. Those food stamps are now getting paid for by the American taxpayer. Even though you're working, even though nominally you're a contributor to the American economy, you're now also taking money out of America's pocket. Because what? Oh, right. Because this fucking corporation can't be bothered to pay people a decent fucking wage. That's why. So, Dustin, if you want to know who's fucking people over, I promise you that these fucking mega corporations are fucking people over way more than the immigrants. And the fact of the matter is, it's these mega corporations that are pushing the idea that it's immigrants fucking you over. That's always been the case. Look back to the Gilded Age, dude. If you look back to the Gilded Age, they weren't blaming anybody except the same groups. Standard Oil? Oh, it's the Mexican laborers that have come in. It's their reason why you can't get a decent wage. It's not the fact that every single time that you try to strike for a better wage, we'll send in a bunch of fucking Pinkertons to come and beat your head in. Not at all. It's the fucking immigrant. That's their fault. For the love of God, Aiden, you're not getting what I'm saying here. If those organizations follow the rules like us normal plebs, it wouldn't be like this. I'll let you in, Dustin. I'll let everybody in, but right now it's just my show. It's not that I won't give you a platform to come and speak your mind. You'll get the chance, but right now this is Aiden time. All right. No, seriously, Aiden. Do you think I haven't tried looking for help? Do you think I've never gone to the hospital and turned away because the lobby was full of illegal immigrants? I mean, did you know that they were illegal, Dustin? Did you really go? Like, how do you know that they were illegal immigrants, dude? Did you go up to each and every single one of them and ask them, hey, excuse me, sir, may I see your papers of entry? Can I see whether or not you are illegal or not? Or did you just assume that they're illegal because they're brown? Or because they're not white? Oh, they're not white, so they must be illegal. Like, seriously, I'm asking that seriously. How the fuck did you know that that fucking hospital was full of illegal immigrants? Exactly. I really want to know. It's a pretty big hint when nobody's speaking English and there's 30 interpreters. So you mean to tell me that these illegal immigrants are capable of affording interpreter? Oh, are you saying that the hospital had interpreters? Because there's plenty of first-generation immigrants that come to this country, or come to America, I should say. Canada's the case as well, though. That'll come to the country, and they don't know English. You know, they can learn it. English is actually a pretty fucking hard language to learn, dude. There's a lot. I'm not saying that they shouldn't learn it, by the way. I'm not saying they shouldn't, because they should. Absolutely. If I was immigrating to fucking India, then chances are I would benefit a lot if I learned how to speak fucking Hindi, right? If I was immigrating to Russia, I should probably learn how to speak Russian. Otherwise, I'm going to have a pretty hard time. You're going to start swearing at me. Let me in. Dude, I'm going to let you in. The hospital. Okay, so is the hospital has interpreters. Okay. So they didn't speak English, right? Therefore, they're just automatically illegal immigrants. I mean, like, okay, I guess to an extent, I could see your logic for that, but that by no means just automatically says that they're illegal immigrants. Like the Korean people who got rounded up and detained. Yeah, like the Japanese Americans that also got rounded up and detained and put in internment camps during the Second World War because every single Japanese person was viewed as suspicious. According to the immigration policy, or at least the last time I looked it up, you're supposed to know some basic English at least. Let me look that up. Are you required to learn English to immigrate to the United States? No, you are not required to learn English to initially immigrate or live in the United States, as there is no official national language. English preferably is not required for obtaining visa or permanent residency. Green card, however, demonstrating basic English proficiency is generally mandatory to become a naturalized citizen. So yes, in order to become a citizen of the United States, you do have to demonstrate that you do know some English. However, that doesn't mean that you can't come here and still be here legally. So all those people that you saw in the hospital could have still been here legally just because they didn't know English. I'm not saying all of them. There probably were some illegals there. After to gain citizen. Yeah, I just said. It is to gain citizenship. You do have to know at least some basic English, but you don't have to be a citizen to be in America legally. You can have a green card. You can have a work permit. You can have a visa that allows you to be in this country legally. Were there probably some illegal immigrants there? Yeah, sure. There probably were some illegal immigrants. But even by that standard, you don't have free health care, do you? If those people are there for the hospital, and those people are looking to get checked up, right? They're going to have to pay for their services. Because illegal immigrants can't get Medicaid. Illegal immigrants don't have access to any of that shit. The American taxpayer isn't going to pay for their trip to the hospital. In any way, shape, or form. If you can demonstrate to me that they do, then I'll fucking correct myself on that. The American taxpayer ain't footing that bill.
They're footing that bill. If they've got a broken leg and they need to go get an x-ray and get it put in a cast, then they're paying for that shit. And isn't that just the same as you, Dustin? Isn't that just the same? Don't you have to pay for your fucking medical shit too? I'm done putting my tax dollars out for these people, and I'm done with your excuses. What tax dollars are you putting out for those people to go to the hospital, Dustin? You gave me the example that you went to the hospital and there was a bunch of illegal immigrants there because they weren't speaking English. What did you have to pay for them to go to the hospital? I have a right to have an opinion. Of course you have a right to have an opinion, Dustin. I never said that you didn't have a right to have an opinion. You're voicing it right now, dude. I'm literally responding to your opinion in real time because I'm giving you the right to express it. And you keep telling me I'm wrong for it. I don't think you're inherently wrong for it. I disagree with it. That doesn't inherently mean that you're wrong for it, because for me to say that you're inherently wrong for that, I'd have to say that I'm inherently right, and that's pretty fucking arrogant, isn't it? I don't think I'm inherently right. I just have a difference of opinion, dude. You have every right to have your opinion. You're fucking out there fucking grinding your fucking ass off, trying to fucking scratch out a decent living for yourself. And you have very little, if anything, to show for it. And I agree that that's bullshit, Dustin. I'm literally sitting here saying that that's bullshit. We just disagree on why you're getting fucked over and who's doing the fucking. That's really where the primary disagreement lies here, I think. Not that things aren't fucked and that things desperately need to change. I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. I just think that the thing that needs to change, if we're going to have to start picking favorites, isn't going to be the immigration policy first and foremost. Woo! Do you know why I pulled this stream over? I'm sorry. I was going to call you officer, but... Who's doing the fucking? Who indeed? YouTube social worker. Who indeed? I have every reason and right to be upset about this, and you keep telling me I should just shut my mouth and keep paying taxes. When did I say that? Dude, I never said that once. I never said at any point in this argument, Dustin, you just shut your fucking mouth. You just shut your fucking mouth and just keep paying your taxes. Just keep going with things, man. I never, dude, if you're going to try to paint me into some fucking status quo advocate, then that's just absurd. Come on, dude. I've never advocated for the status quo. I've never been like, man, guys, you know what's perfect? Right now. The way things are right now, dude, they're just hunky fucking dory, ain't they? I have always been somebody that has rocked the boat and wanted things to be better for the average common person. I'm not telling you to shut your mouth at all. All I'm doing is telling you that I think that, in my opinion, your anger is misplaced. And it's been misdirected. Not because you're stupid. Not because you're impressionable. They've literally done studies on this, by the way. And they've proven that even if you know what you're watching is propaganda, you'll still at least be partially susceptible to it. Why? Because our brains are a fucking mishmash of this weird layer cake of evolutionary progress, and the bottom layer of that layer cake basically consists of, ooh, flashing light, ooh, pretty color, ooh, catchy slogan. Like, to a certain extent, even if you know something is propaganda, your brain is still going to internalize it. And that's fucked up. I agree. But that's just the state of affairs that we're living in. Unfortunately. Everybody is biased. Everybody falls for some sort of propaganda at some level or another. It's just a matter of trying your best to divorce yourself from it as much as you reasonably can. What are you advocating for right now, Aiden? What I'm advocating for right now, Dustin, is that the focus of wrongdoing right now in American society is fundamentally misplaced. The focus of wrongdoing in American society is currently being placed upon people like illegal immigrants and trans issues and things of that nature. And I think that that is a gross misallocation of public resources and of political capital. Because I think in reality, the biggest ailments that are affecting your society right now, not to say that illegal immigration is just a non-issue. None of the things that we're talking about right now, whether it be trans issues or illegal immigration or any of that, none of those are just non-issues that don't exist. What I'm saying is that they are being massively blown out of proportion, and intentionally so, by corporations. Because the biggest ailment that is currently affecting our society right now, in my opinion, is mega corporations, corporate greed, and corporate overreach. Those are the things that are currently affecting tangibly every single person in our society. Whether you're an illegal immigrant, whether you're a naturalized citizen, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, you are being affected in some way, shape, or form by that. I don't think the same can necessarily be said about illegal immigration. What are you saying? Corporations will go under without the support of illegals? You won't even address that argument? What do you mean? I just brought that up. You're saying corporations would go under without the support of illegals? Yeah, I am talking that corporations would go under. At least a bunch of them. Not every single corporation. Facebook isn't out there employing a whole bunch of illegal immigrants. You know? Instagram isn't out there employing a whole bunch of illegal immigrants, but Cisco sure as fuck is. Monsanto sure as fuck is. All these major farming conglomerates sure as fuck are. All these major construction conglomerates sure as fuck are. I mean, that's relevant. Is it not? That kind of matters to the whole paradigm of illegal immigrants are bad and they just need to get thrown the hell out of here. Okay, let's throw them all the hell out of here and see what that does to the economy and how much it fucks everything up. Because I promise you, they don't just take. It's not just take. It's not a parasitic organism. It's actually pretty symbiotic in a weird, fucked up way. That I agree is fucked up. It's weird and fucked up and dehumanizing that people's labor is being taken advantage of because they came from a different fucking spot on this planet. Like, just think about that for a moment. Think about how fucking stupid and arbitrary that is. You came from a different spot on this fucking dirt ball. Therefore, because you came from a different spot, your labor and your effort and your time is inherently less valuable than this other person's labor and effort and time. What a stupid fucking rule. When you actually practically think about the logistics of that. But that's just the reality that we live in. And that has to be addressed, does it not? The immigrants, if you prefer, are being used for their cheap labor. It's a method that is also hurting everyday Americans that could be doing those jobs. Yeah, but if everyday Americans were doing those jobs, Dustin, if it was Joe Lunchbox out there picking the fruit, then the common understanding is that the cost of your fruit is going to go up by a lot, by a hell of a lot. That's the common argument that you hear, isn't it? That illegal immigrants are the main reason why the cost of goods are quote unquote low, which by the way is fucking ridiculous, isn't it? That whole narrative that we heard throughout our entire life. Oh man, I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tangent and then I'm going to get right back to this, okay? But I just feel like this needs to be said. Wasn't the line of bullshit that we were always fed? Oh, well, the McDonald's worker can't make $15 an hour because if they make $15 an hour, then the cost of the Big Mac is going to go up. Well, guess what, motherfucker? We're living in a world where that person never got a $15 minimum wage and the Big Mac is still expensive as fuck. The Big Mac is still fucking unattainable to a huge amount of fucking people because it's gone up massively in price. All that inflation that people were so worried about at the cost of increasing people's wage happened anyway. Because these corporations aren't fucking pricing things low out of the kindness of their fucking hearts. They never have. Anyways, minor sidetrack over. But let me get this straight. If a corporation runs up against a problem, the rules don't matter. They'll just work around them. But I have to put up with it? No, Dustin, the thing that I'm saying to you is that it's bullshit that that's the paradigm that we live in. It's bullshit that you, as the person that is ostensibly carrying the American economy forward, people like you are the people that are keeping America fucking going. It's people like you that are allowing America to even continue to fucking function in the first place. And the fact that the paradigm is that you don't get fucking little to any say whatsoever, and you just have to fucking deal with this. But the Walton family gets to fucking cheat the average American left, right, and center and fuck them over and not even have to pay any taxes for the privilege. I'm saying that that's fucked up and that needs to change. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be if we get the illegals out. Really, Dustin? So let's just say, right? Let's just say that right now we snap our fingers and every single illegal immigrant is out of the country, right? They're all gone. They've all gone back to their homes. They've all gone back to what they were doing. What do you really think is the ramification of that? I'll invite you in. You know what? Hold on. I will open up the room right now. And you can tell me what the direct ramification of those things are. Like I said before, I haven't been trying to keep you like isolated or anything like that. I just wanted a little bit of time to kind of have my own show and do my own thing and respond to arguments that you have been making. You've had the opportunity to voice these arguments the entire time. I just wanted my ability to respond to them in my way. You're now here in the side chat. I'm going to let you into the room. Welcome to the show, Dustin.
Dude, Aiden, please just hear me out for a second. Okay.
Yeah, I will mute my mic. I'll mute my mic and like for 10 minutes. I will let you talk.
Aiden, you keep misplacing the idea that I'm upset at the illegal immigrant. I'm not. You even, I even think that you think that deportation is a form of punishment. It's not. These people that come here are industrious. They're hardworking. They have a lot of good qualities. The issue is they belong in their home country where they can become business owners and leaders to their country. It is not a credit that we take all these people, the resources available in that country that would make that country better, and then we abuse them by undercutting their wage. It is a better idea to take these people who have been exposed to industry, know how financing and business works, and send them back with the education, with the resources, with the knowledge, with the ability, even the American contacts that would allow for the supply chains to be established. I don't see a problem with that. I don't. Even to the point of where we can establish multicultural companies across entire continents. The other end of the equation is we're saying that these people are in so much danger that they have to live in our country. So what we're doing is we're taking the best of the best and we're leaving the worst of the worst. And the poverty keeps growing because the American aid doesn't actually help anything when you send money to people who don't know how to use it. And the people who are in the position to manage them and make their decisions for them end up making their wallets fat while poverty keeps growing.
Right. I was about to ask, what do you mean by they don't know how to use the money that they're given?
So if I'm a foreigner and I'm given American dollars, the value is different from the currency of the area from which I live, right? An average American, when they start earning more money, what do? They spend more. So what are you saying, that these people are somehow immune to that? That they can just magically handle all their finances because the money that they get is substantially worth more than what the money they would earn on their own hands and feet? It's a problem because then they become addicted to it. And when we withdraw the aid, well, now their lifestyles collapse in on them. But if we had people there that had the education, the business contacts over here in America, they could bolster, create, and design their own businesses and provide services for the individuals in that area. And guess what? The poverty goes away.
They do that right now.
They absolutely could, but guess what?
No, they're doing it right
They're over
now.
here saying, no, they don't.
Yes,
Where?
I do.
When? You show me.
Look at
Show me.
Nigeria.
Show
Look at
me.
Nigeria.
Show me. Don't
Look at
make a
Nigeria.
don't make a
Look at
blanket
Nigeria.
claim.
No, I'm literally telling you a specific country. Look at Nigeria. Go look at their development over the past several decades. A whole bunch of that development has come from the fact that a whole bunch of people have emigrated to America, learned a bunch of shit, and then taken that knowledge back to their own country. For fuck's sake, places like
show me a
China.
single example. Show me a single business name. Validate that claim. Just one. I'll give it to you for even one. But even if that's the case, it doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because foreign aid causes a bigger problem than the businesses and services can cover. You don't understand. It's a bad thing. It really, really is. When the people are bumped up by industry that they don't understand. It's like handing an AK-47 to a chimpanzee, right?
See, this is my problem. This is my problem is that you keep acting like these people that are being given this money are just incapable of doing anything.
I didn't say that.
Well, then why?
I didn't say that.
Well, then why are you comparing giving a foreign person some foreign aid
to
giving a chimpanzee an AK-47?
Can you show me a single example of a lottery winner that actually took that money and did anything with it?
Yeah, I can.
Most of them, 90% of them end up bankrupt in the first year.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that a person, hey, wait, stop, please. Okay, just let me speak. All right. If you're telling me that winning the lottery for any one of us would take our lives and turn them into shit, what do you think it does for someone in a foreign country when they finally start making something that's worth something? You don't think that the temptation to overspend beyond your living means translates from this culture to that? There's some special thing about these people that automatically, oh, well, I'm going to have the ability to do more, so I'm going to do it responsibly. I mean, we do it over here in this country. I can't. Where? When? Show me an example. Because I can think of many examples where people have won. I can think of many examples where people have won the lottery and wound up in the piss. Look at all the rich, famous actors that lost work, and look at where they are now. These people get addicted to a certain lifestyle, right? And then when the ability to provide for it disappears, they don't know what to do. It's the same thing here. I'm not saying anything about these people derogatory or wrong. What I'm saying is what's so funny?
I think you kind of are saying that you are being a bit derogatory. I do
maybe towards my own people. Yeah, because look at the shitholes that look. Seriously, the upper echelons of life.
You asked for an example.
No, I didn't. Yeah, okay, I have asked for several examples.
Okay.
Let me see your Google foo.
No, I don't even need Google foo. I can give you an example from my own personal life.
I need a business name.
No,
I need a business name.
So, when I was growing up, I worked in a restaurant called the Roadhouse Restaurant and Bar, right? And in this restaurant was a group of Filipino workers that worked the kitchen. They were like 90% of the kitchen staff in that building. It was a group of Filipino workers that had recently emigrated to the country. And nowadays, I can't think of a single one of those workers who isn't doing massively better than the average person would when given those conditions. And the reason why they did massively better was because they came from a culture that had an extremely high work ethic, where they were used to living in extremely cramped conditions. I literally knew
the exception. That's the exception that proves the rule, Aiden, and that's that goes beyond.
Let me finish. These people would literally live in like a 2-bedroom apartment. There'd be like 6 of them living in a fucking 2-bedroom apartment, fucking grinding their ass off every single day at their job in order to make money, to the point where I know at least one of them now owns a gas station in my town.
Here in America?
Gas station in Canada. They've got their own gas station.
Oh, in Canada.
Business that they've now have for themselves because they worked their ass off in order to get it. So that person won the lottery, according to you. They're making far more money than they ever would have in their own country. And they took the means of that and they made a better life for themselves.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. What I'm saying is for the average person, it's a bad idea.
What do you have to say about all this, Dean? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
What do I have to say about the... what did you say?
I said you illegal immigrant.
Yeah. I mean, technically at one point, during my 30 process, I was because of a policy change.
Oh, fuck. I'm calling ICE on
And, yeah, right? But again, the policy change got changed and things went back on track. And that, like, delayed everything.
Where are my tax dollars?
For for how long? Hold on one second.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, this is exactly why I like ICE, and this is exactly why I would call ICE on your dumb ass. Because you're going to laugh about my tax dollars going to shit that I disapprove of. That's funny. Fuck you, bro.
What the hell happened? I just came back. I literally just fucking came back. I just went to go and say hi to Brianna for a second. What happened? Dean? Dustin? Hello?
I'm here.
What happened?
He laughed at me when I said more of my tax dollars. You know what? I'm tired of it, dude. I'm tired of my tax dollars going to illegals. I'm tired of it.
Why aren't you tired of your tax dollars going to Jeff Bezos' third yacht?
What? I don't know anything about Jeff Bezos' third yacht.
Yeah, because your priorities, in my opinion, are misplaced, Dustin.
See, that's what I was talking about when I said you just want me to shut my mouth and keep paying taxes.
How is
my priorities?
How is me expressing my opinion that your priorities are misplaced tantamount to telling you to shut your mouth? How are those two things equivocal to each other?
Because you're telling me that I should be focused elsewhere and that I'm complaining about the wrong thing. It is tantamount, essentially, yeah.
No, it's not. It's literally just me telling you that I have a difference of opinion than you, and I can give you plenty of examples. Just one quick second, dude. I think
no. That's not what you're saying. You're saying that I'm influenced by a third party to believe that the illegal immigrant is the problem. That's exactly what you're saying.
I think you're influenced in the same way that everyone is.
That's exactly what you're saying.
I literally had a whole section, Dustin, where I said that even if you know something is propaganda, that you'll still end up internalizing it to a certain extent. All right? I'm not saying that you're dumb or that you're impressionable or that you're getting manipulated by somebody else because you're just too stupid to figure it out for yourself. I'm saying that
except that my priorities were misplaced. You just said my priorities are misplaced.
I did say that.
What does that mean? What does that mean? That my priorities are misinformed, right?
Well, I mean, to an extent, that's definitely part of
it. Yes, absolutely. That's what that means, Aiden. There's no getting around it. If my priorities are misplaced, it's because they're misinformed. And I'm laid out a case for why taking the illegals and putting them back where they came from was a good idea, and you still haven't even addressed it. You claimed that there was transnational corporations that were established by doing so, and yet you haven't even placed the name. Aiden, you are not addressing the conversation as it sits. You're going around it. You're addressing the keynotes that you think are going to get you the most popularity and the best points, and you will not engage with the conversation with me.
The most popularity, now you're starting to, for somebody who just accused, you know what, actually, Dean.
I kind of did, yeah, but I think it's kind of fair considering, what you're saying about me.
You trying to say that I'm doing this for popularity is fucking absurd, when most of the time when I make
not necessarily popularity, but logic points in a debate.
Dustin, it was just the other day that you, Daniel, and someone else, all three of you were all on here disagreeing with me on shit. So if I'm trying to do this for popularity, I'm doing a pretty fucking shit job at it. Anyways,
I don't know about all that. And I didn't say, well, maybe I said popularity, but that's not the only example that would apply.
Let's let Dean talk though, because he's been really patient.
So the topic of the conversation is about removing all illegal immigrants.
It's a
No,
conversation
no.
about it's a
That's
conversation.
not how I
about-
couched it.
It's in my opinion, this is a conversation about which one is the bigger issue affecting our society right now: illegal immigration or corporate greed. And I think it's very easy to make the case that corporate greed is affecting the average person far more than illegal immigration.
Okay, what do you say, Dustin?
I say that Aiden's providing cover for those that would bend the rules and abuse those legal immigrants by undercutting their wages.
Okay.
I've literally
I-
just talked about how the fact that their wages being undercut is an absurd, asinine thing.
But you're still going to let it happen, though, right? You're going to,
What do you mean let it happen?
Our blind eye to it. Well, what are you doing to stop it? Kick out the illegals, then they can't do it. At least I have a solution.
Aiden,
Yeah, at least I have a solution.
Sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Okay, so kicking out probably like 15 million people out of the country is probably
My dream.
It's probably I mean, it's not realistic, and the amount of money it'll take would most likely cripple the economy.
We seem to be
and raise
doing
their
all right
taxes
so
even
far.
more.
I'll
he's
pay
saying-
those taxes. I will
he's
pay those
saying-
taxes with a
he's
smile
saying
on my
the
face.
amount of money that it would take
So,
to do
ho-
that. Which,
ho-
by the way, it would have to be a consistent thing. Go ahead, Dean. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're thinking. The numbers don't say that. It'll literally take decades to do something like that. Not only that, you run into a host of legal issues because you can't just grab up people and remove them out of the country, mainly because, for example, if they have a pending immigration case, right? You can't just grab them up and
Oh,
remove
dude.
them.
You will use
Hold
any
on.
excuse.
Hold on.
You will use any excuse.
Dustin,
Any excuse. They're
Dustin.
illegal.
Okay, I'm gonna start muting. Dean was in the middle of talking, dude. Come on. Let's try to keep this civil. Please keep going, Dean.
Yeah, so
Process my fucking ass.
so basically, I mean, I'm not even going into the due process part of it yet, but there are specific rules that set to where people can't be removed unless there's a warrant, and two, they actually have to go through a specific process of removal to determine if they can or even should be removed. The other aspect of it too is that when you hear the term illegal immigrant, it doesn't necessarily mean someone who is like comes through like illegal entry, right? And illegal is kind of cloudy because there are some people who are like literally in the waiting line. Like for example, they are told to come here to wait, right? And they're waiting for their stuff to get processed. And because like as I gave earlier, what happened with me in the past was a policy change, right? Or they basically fired a bunch of people who are processing visas, and now you got to wait even longer, right? So technically, those people are considered undocumented, but they're not set for removal, right? So the only people who legally speaking, right, where ICE can like go and really pick up and deport are people with removal proceedings. Now that can change, like, I guess instantly, but there's a process to that as well. So when I say that it's something that's just, it's really not realistic, right? Outside of the money part, it would take decades, probably more than 100 years, because of how much people and how much processing would have to take place. And people's statuses are going to change. And guess what? If you deport someone, for example, who's actually allowed to be here, now they can sue the federal government. And so now the federal government is going to be tied up in court, and they're going to spend
Whatever.
a bunch of money. Like, so it's not a realistic way to view things, right? If it's a situation where you're looking at it, well, okay, we want these people to not be taken advantage of, because from my understanding, that's essentially the crux of what you're saying, right? I don't want to straw man you.
What? Okay, if you're going to address my argument, I'm going to put it the way it needs to be put. All
Okay.
right. There are those in the government that benefit from the kickbacks from corporations from allowing illegal immigrants to work for them for under the table wages. Do you disagree? I doubt if you do. Bigger picture, the easiest and most direct solution is to remove the tool or method with which they are using to skirt the legal rules.
Okay, so you're basically saying there are organizations that are using illegal immigrants, right? To profit, and they're getting funding from the federal government. Is that basically what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is they're taking the profit from underpaying their employees and kicking it back to the government.
Wait,
And the
okay, so
government
yeah,
turns a blind eye to their employees. Absolutely. So in
so when
other
you say
words, there
kickback to the
so
government, can you explain that?
are
That's
you
the part I
saying
didn't understand.
so you're these businesses that Aiden said would go under if they didn't have the illegal immigrants in order to keep afloat. Right? We know that they're being undercut. This is a logical, straightforward determination based on what was presented, not even my assertion. So, if we want that to stop, the most direct and straightforward method with which to affect the change is to remove the tool that they're using to side skirt the rule, i.e., the immigrant who is being underpaid for their labor.
Okay, so I understand now. Thanks for explaining that. So since it's a situation where it'll cost an insane amount of money and time to do something like this, right? Why not set up a circumstance to where those immigrants, right, would gain status to where they are now, where those employers are forced to
No.
pay them actual wages that
How
they're
about
supposed to be
no?
getting?
Because all you're doing now is saying that the rules, furthermore, do not matter, right? Now, everybody who is in line, waiting in line to come in here legally, you're saying that that process doesn't matter. Just cut the line. We'll let you in anyway.
I mean, that's not what I'm saying. Why do you
That's
think that I'm
exactly what
saying
you're
that?
saying. We'll just give them a pathway to citizenship
Where did
because
I say that?
it's easier. That's what you just said. You said, why not give them a pathway to citizenship? Because they didn't come in the legal way. They didn't wait in line like everybody else. They didn't do the things they needed to do. There are certain things that would skip you ahead. Say you got married. That's possible. And I'm not necessarily even attacking that premise. That's fine. The other end of the equation is, as long as you make it to home base, then you're safe. Well, then why not just let everybody who's in line do the same thing?
Okay.
Right?
So
There's always going to be a disparity no matter how you look at this because you are not following the rules and it never takes longer to do things the right way.
okay. So you don't understand the US immigration system. So I understand your perspective.
I don't
But
understand. Look, I got to go, guys.
No,
I got to get to work.
okay, that's fine. So I'm going to finish my point. So the what he's saying is not what I'm saying, right? The line that exists is artificial in nature. It's something that's controlled by the government. How long a person gets a visa is controlled by the government. That can change on a whim almost, right? And so it's a situation where the argument to suggest that, oh, there are people in line, well, those people can no longer be in line if the federal government chooses for that to be the case. And sometimes they make adjustments to the wait times based on countries. Like if you're from China, your wait time is going to be significantly longer on average versus someone who's from England. Why is that the case? A lot of it depends on the US's relationship with the country, right? And to some extent, the actual population and the amount of people applying for visas from a particular country. So they take a host of things into consideration. Um, so so the argument about people like waiting in line, that that doesn't really mean anything, because that line, right, how long the line is controlled by the federal government. And the federal government, if it wanted today, could literally make that line disappear in like a year. So it could do two things. It could just basically shorten the line, right? And it could just make it so everyone can work legally and pay taxes. But we all know that the reason that it's not going to do that is because it's twofold, right? It's political in nature, where both parties wouldn't have a platform to run on anymore, right? Because one party requires victims, the other party requires people to blame. And so there's no incentive for them to actually fix this problem. Because according to, what Dustin is saying, there are people who are skipping the line. Well, I'm sorry, but there are mechanisms that are already in place that allow for people to literally skip the line, right? Do you think it's fair that a guy who, you know, who's a millionaire or got a couple $100,000 under his belt to basically skip the line in front of, I don't know, a poor family in India that's been waiting for like 10 years simply because he has more money available to him? Like that's the case in US immigration as well. You can buy your green card. I mean, Trump put out a more expensive version, which is weird, but like there are options available for people to straight up skip the line. But who gets to skip the line? The government gets to determine that. And sometimes it has to do with money, and sometimes that has to do with the country's relationship, and sometimes it just has to do with a particular group of people that the country, is not liking or liking at that particular time, um, um, in the culture. So I'm not saying, Dustin, when I said that you don't know the immigration system in the country as an insult. I'm saying that because based on what you're saying, right, it shows that you don't, and most Americans don't. It is not cheap to come here. It can take forever to get here, and it could, like, you could straight up be scammed trying to get here, and there's like no recourse. You could pour thousands of dollars, and the government on a whim just decides, you know what, I'm no longer going to process your shit. And you're going to have to wait like another 20 years. All because, for example, another president came into office and decides, oh, we're going to do a policy change. We don't want these people anymore. Like, just like Trump did for, I don't know, God knows how many countries where they're just no longer going to process visas. No longer processing visas, a lot of those visas have to do with residency. And he doesn't even have the power to do that, not in a permanent way. But yet still we do it, and we have a Congress that doesn't do anything. The one party definitely is not going to go against it because they don't want to go against whatever the president goes against, and the other party is going to be like, they're not going to do anything because guess what? One, They don't really have the power. And two, I mean, again, they need something to run on. That's just my perspective at the end of the day.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Mr. Logo, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hello, Aiden. Hello. How are you? Fine. I'm fine.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. If anybody would like to say or do anything, now is the time to do so, because I'm going to be shutting the show down fairly soon here.
What? You're faking gay.
That is me.
Well, I think there's one thing to mention. Like, everybody's bargaining power is when you, for example, apply for a new job, is always high when you advocate for social security, and when you advocate for immigrants getting help and getting everything. Because when you, for example, apply at an employer for social security, you can say, if you're not paying me a salary that is decent, then I have an alternative. I have that social security. You know what I mean? So this increase should be within the interest of everybody to advocate for people who are homeless, that they get some home from, and they get some help, or for immigrants, or for anyone who is falling through that social net, because this increases the social, the bargaining power of everybody else, right?
Right. Sorry, I'm just a little. I'm gonna just chatting here with Brianna about our plans for today.
And I mean, I just want to add one more thing, right? Like don't misunderstand, right? Like becoming the U.S. doesn't have much options, or actually no options whatsoever, for anyone who comes here to assimilate. If you aren't kind of like predisposed to Western culture or like English, you're gonna have a tough time here. And most immigrants are essentially that, right? And everyone has to figure it out. But everyone figuring it out at the end of the day without any help from the federal government, the vast majority of those people still turn out to be doing pretty damn good, right?
right.
A large percentage of them start business. They don't commit as much crimes as normal citizens do. Their kids normally go to college and they graduate. Their marriages tend to last longer. Like, there's a lot of statistics that show that, generally speaking, most immigrants take good advantage of, of the opportunity that they have. And it's like, when, like me becoming naturalized, that was easy, right? Like,
and it's so ironic that USA suddenly is so much against immigrants and says, oh, it's only against the illegal immigrants. Well, they themselves were immigrants, or they are the descendants of.
Breathing down the mic so hard right now. Okay, thank you.
They are themselves. They are either the immigrants or the descendants of immigrants, right? If they are not Native American, right? Kiowa, Shoshone, Sioux, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cree, Crow, Cheyenne, Assiniboine, and so on, right?
Mhm.
But all of the others are essentially immigrants or descendants of immigrants. And why are they suddenly against immigrants, right?
Yeah.
This is so ironic, right?
For sure. OD, and you're breathing on the mic. Yeah, don't worry. We got that figured, Miss and Mod. Don't worry. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on here. Seriously, I really appreciate it. Every single time I see your icon, Mr. Logo, I always think of it as a pencil, because it's got the little pink thing at the top. It's like an eraser. And then you got the body of the pencil. And then you got the tip at the bottom. I always think of it as a pencil. I can't unsee it, no matter how hard I try.
Yeah, see, that's the branding,
Yeah.
Branding. No,
It's
this
good.
people asked in the past, this is a chromatography column, which is like, this is a glass tube with an outlet valve at the bottom, and it's packed at the bottom with glass wool, and then you pack it with silica gel, which is like sand,
Right.
you know, and it's porous. It has a high porosity. And then you fill it with solvent, like as a slurry. And then you can put a sample on top and can run that through with in that case I took fluorescein, which is a color, and then that gets separated when the solvent transports that compound through the silica gel. That's what it is. It's a method of separation. That's the explanation of it, right?
Yeah.
And this is just a flash column, so to say. There are more sophisticated versions where the whole column is steel and it's packaged under very high pressure, 200 bar, and it separates very well, right? You get fine peaks of each substance of complicated mixtures, right?
Right. Well, thank you so much for explaining that. I'm sorry. I really do hate to be a little bit absent at the end of the stream here. I've just been a little occupied trying to get things ready for the day. But
Brianna's got him by the nuts, and he's trying to. I'm kidding.
At least to an extent, man. I mean, like, that's part of the married life, my friend. I mean,
yeah, you should run a stream like to push it into their faces why evolution is true or something. I volunteer for co-host, you know.
Do it. I'd love to see that, actually. You know what? I'm trying to just think of some like consistent segments for my show. So maybe that'll
yeah, or you must have the American stream and the European stream.
Yeah.
You know, where all those European ghouls are coming out. Shout out to Deviant.
Shout out to Deviant indeed. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to be shutting it down now. So have a good one.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you.